Hello guys and welcome to another track guide video, and this is the track guide for the Grand Valley Highway 1 in Group 4. And for this one I'm going with this Nissan Silvia on racing medium tires. So the car of choice is the most popular out there with the current BOP system, and yeah, just let's abuse the BOP as it is and get the most out of it. So without further ado, let's get going. Starting the lap, and I usually like to rev up the forward gear until I reach 200 kilometers per hour. Sometimes you can do it a little bit more if it's the uphill section. I will explain all of that later. Here, 300, and then you position the car straight up. So if the car is turning and you hit the brakes exactly at that point, you might get a little bit more understeer. And usually it's just about a little bit of coasting until you really hit the brakes until this point, which is your acceleration point. So don't be afraid if you touch the curbs on the right, they will actually help you to rotate the car even better. So you can see I got a lot more time, and it was actually a pretty good sector so far. So here, just a little lift so you can kind of tap this curb. I mean, you don't want to go too wide, but you just need to tap the curbs. And here I think I went a little bit too wide. You want to stay as close as possible to the left, but the 400 is usually your reference point. I would say about 380 is usually when I try to brake, but just when you pass the 400. And now we need to take the narrowest possible lines. If you go wide a little bit, you will eventually lose time, so try to stay as narrow as possible so you can get the acceleration down quickly. Here I just try to turn in. I mean, it's nothing special in here, just turning in, and then when I reach this point, it's about 40-50% of the brakes, but for about a half a second to about a second, and then just let the car go. If you stay on the brakes for too long with this car, you will eventually get a lot of understeer and the car will not turn in. So yeah, this point I really don't have a reference point, but as soon as I go to the left side, I just hit the brakes maybe about 50-60%, and then I just try to position the car up straight and then brake under the board, and then just a little bit more braking. About 50-60% is just about enough, and then you want to hit the power as soon as possible. This car doesn't slide that much, so you can really work with the power as much as you want it. And I mean, it's really useful to get the rotation out of some specific corners like this one. So just a bit before the 100 sign, and then you're downshifting into second, quickly upshifting into third, and hitting the power at about 50% into the turn. So when you see the exit, I think this is kind of the safe way to put the power down. Here I like to tap the brakes at about 15-20%, and this is usually the board when I put the power down. It always depends on the angle, so there is not a point where I can say, okay, if you put the power down in there, it's gonna be the best one. And you can see I had a lot more space on the left, so better. My angle was really good from the beginning, and I could have put the power down sooner. So I lost, I would say, maybe half a tenth at that corner, but you know, it is what it is. Here, 100, you're turning in, but as soon as you start turning in further, like more than 45 degrees, you need to just let go of the brakes. I think this is the best advice I can give you. Let go of the brakes and the car will naturally rotate. And as soon as you get out of the tunnel, I just stopped the footage in here, tap the brakes at about 20-30%, the car once again will turn in, but don't stay on the brakes for too long because you just want to avoid that understeer. The car is, let's say, good when you don't brake that much. So if you start trail braking with this car, it will eventually understeer and it's gonna kill your lap, and without even thinking about it. So you have to be careful on how much braking pressure you're putting in. Brake in the straight line as much as you can, and then let the car do the work for you. So basically, just let the car do the work, coast a little bit, and that's about it. So it was a 53.677, and I think it was a pretty decent result in the end for a lap like this. It can be a little bit better, but it got me up to top 5 on the leaderboards. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, you can always leave a like, and you can even subscribe to the channel. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye. better. Lost a little bit of time on the uphill section, but this is looking good. 677.